All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started, folks. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to start by saying I really appreciate everyone that's taken the time to attend this public information session today. It does look like a beautiful day outside, so we'll try to run through this material relatively quick to get folks back outside to enjoy the rest of the day. I also want to mention that this meeting is being recorded and it will be available to those who are interested and or those who are unable to attend today. So my name is Justin Gilmore. I'm a transportation planner with the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, and our commission has been tasked with providing the City of North Adams with technical assistance to develop a local rapid recovery plan. And I'll get into what that is in a moment today, but first I just want to review our agenda. So as I just alluded to, we're going to review what the local rapid recovery plan program process looks like. We're going to review the study area that's been delineated for this project. We're going to review data collection and business survey results. We're going to review a draft list of potential project recommendations that have been identified to date. And then we're going to leave some time for brainstorming of additional projects. If anyone in attendance today has any ideas or suggestions after the presentation is over, we'd certainly like to hear them. We also have an online submission form where folks can drop comments and ideas at a later date. That submission form is going to be open through the month of June. As the summer progresses, we'll hold at least one more meeting similar to this one to get feedback on project ideas, and we'll present the final list in August. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so just for some background on the local rapid recovery plan. So our local rapid recovery program. So this is a program that is offered by the Department of Housing and Community Development. So the overall goal of this program is to develop project-based recovery plans that are tailored to the unique economic challenges and COVID-19 related impacts to downtowns, town centers, and commercial areas. This program was open to all municipalities in the Commonwealth. 125 communities applied, and those that are participating were provided with plan facilitators. The Berkshire Regional Planning Commission is acting as the City of North Adams plan facilitator to develop this local rapid recovery plan. As you can see here, the local rapid recovery plan program is broken into 3 phases: the diagnostic phase, which we'll be discussing today, the plan development phase, and then the final plan phase, where we'll be deciding on 12 to 15 priority projects that will ultimately submit to DHCD. It is important to note that this grant does not include funding for implementation. It's strictly planning at this point. Part of our work will be to identify potential funding sources to make these projects happen. And we're also expecting that the state will consider the types of projects we identify as they shape their next round of COVID-related assistance offerings. So here's the study area map that has been delineated for this project. Now this is a little bit of a strange footprint, but it was chosen because the mixture of buildings and uses within the boundaries are of a traditional downtown character. Within these boundaries, there are multi-story buildings containing commercial storefronts, office space, and residences. There are parks, museums, retail shops, and restaurants. So when looking at a project that is intended to add vitality to a downtown, it made sense to focus on an area that is most downtown in terms of use and character. The projects that we ultimately select will also have a positive impact on the surrounding neighborhoods. But for the purposes of the diagnostic phase, this is the footprint that we've focused on. So now we're going to look at some of the data collection, beginning with the customer base. So here on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see some comparative data between the study area and the city at large. So here we have a total resident population of 464 individuals in the study area compared to 12,959 folks in the city. Our study area has a much smaller medium household income. Our study area is slightly smaller, or is slightly younger in age, and has a slightly smaller average household size. We were able to determine that the educational attainment within the study area is similar to that of the city. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get fine-grained data with respect to race and ethnicity within our study area. So we weren't able to make any comparisons on that front. Although the intention of the local rapid recovery planning effort is focused on improving conditions for downtown businesses, it is worth noting that these residents will also be positively affected by the projects we select, and it is hoped that the community at large will benefit as well. So now we're going to look at some existing conditions with respect to the public realm. So here on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see some information that summarizes total open space, average daily vehicular traffic, and total number of parking spaces within our study area. Just so we're on the same page, the public realm is anything outside of private ownership or control and is accessible by members of the public. A good way to visualize this would be anything from the base of a building where it meets the sidewalk out towards and including the street. In our assessment of the public realm, we found a range of conditions. Most elements mentioned here received a C grade. This is due to a combination of factors from areas where sidewalks and crosswalks need to be upgraded to areas where additional pedestrian-oriented wayfinding signage could be enhanced. These ratings will likely impact the types of projects that we consider for our final project list. So now we're going to look at some existing conditions for the private realm. So here again, on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see some information that summarizes the total number of storefronts, total ground floor retail space, ground floor office space, and ground floor manufacturing space within our study area. Here, all private realm elements received a C grade, and it should be noted that these are cumulative grades, meaning that they are a combination of the individual grades given to different businesses along in each street within the study area. So while certain streets contain businesses that scored highly on various design elements, the lack or deterioration of these design elements for businesses on other streets lowered the overall grade that was given. It should also be noted that the grading criteria issued by DHCD informed the way we scored various private realm elements. Most businesses on Main Street and Eagle Street scored higher than those located on Ashland or within Steeple City Plaza and Oasis Plaza. So as a part of the diagnostic phase, we interacted with organizations who act as stewards of the downtown commercial district in one way or another. So these include the city's Office of Community Development and the City Chamber of Commerce. Each has its unique strengths as well as parameters to what it should be considered responsible for. Depending on which projects end up on our final list, any combination of these entities could help move certain projects forward. So now we're going to look at some notes on the business environment. So this slide presents information gathered during our data collection, as well as some information gleaned during the business survey process. There are some general statistics on the left that summarize the number of businesses, storefronts, and vacant storefronts, along with some information about available space and average rent prices for commercial space. On the right, we begin to look at survey results, and I do want to caution that that information is based on a small sampling of businesses that responded to the survey. So here we can see that 64% of business respondents reported an increase in revenue during the 3 years prior to COVID. 77% of business respondents rent their space, and 63% of businesses identify as micro enterprises, meaning they have 5 or less employees. So now we're looking at some impacts of COVID-19 on local businesses. So 91% of business survey respondents reported being impacted in one way or another by the pandemic. Half of our respondents saw less revenue in 2020 than in 2019. 2/3 of businesses noted a reduction in on-site customers, and about 70% of businesses reported operating in some sort of reduced fashion. So now we're looking at business satisfaction with the various elements in the commercial district. So here we can see that most elements are trending in the right direction. Some elements that could be improved include the condition of public spaces, streets, and sidewalks, along with the condition of private buildings, storefronts, and signs. So here we're looking at the degree of interest among businesses for various strategies to improve the physical environment, atmosphere, and access in the downtown. So it looks like those types of strategies that were important include improvements in safety and/or cleanliness, improvement of streetscape and sidewalks, and improvement development of public spaces and seating areas. So now we're looking at the degree of interest among business owners for various strategies for attracting and retaining customers and businesses. So those strategies that were seen as being important relate to programming more cultural events and activities to bring people into the district, recruitment programs to attract additional businesses, more opportunities for outdoor dining and selling, along with implementing marketing strategies for the commercial district. So here we see that 60% of business respondents expressed interest in receiving some kind of assistance. From the answer choices provided, none of the above was the answer choice of the highest frequency, followed by training on the use of social media, low-cost financing for storefront facade improvements, participating in shared marketing, advertising, and setting up an online store or other online selling channel, creating new services such as delivery. So at this point, we're going to walk through some draft project recommendations for public and private realm. We'll then have a discussion about any additional ideas that anyone has. It is important to note that these are very preliminary project recommendations. There's still a lot of work still needs to be done to flesh these out. And the types of recommendations that have been identified to date do account for past planning studies conducted by and for the city. And they do take into account input provided by residents during those planning processes, along with the input provided for our business survey for this project. So here, some potential public realm projects that we've identified to date include a business permitting guide. So this would be a resource for new or expanding businesses to assist them with the regulatory process in the downtown. We have a tourist marketing study, which would really look to identify the visitor demographics and promote downtown North Adams as a tourist destination and how to effectively market that to new market segments. A housing market study, which would look at identifying the preferred housing type among prospective homeowners or renters, and then working with property owners to go ahead and develop that housing. We have a public amenities plan, which would look at drastically increasing the types of amenities available in the downtown, more seating, more opportunities for biking and walking, trash cans, public art, these types of things. We have an Eagle Street shared street, which would look at sort of reconfiguring Eagle Street to drastically increase the different types of public amenities and pedestrian features located along that street. And then, of course, following up on the recently completed bike and pedestrian master plan, looking at different bicycle and pedestrian improvements to provide these types of facilities to facilitate movement in the downtown. Now we have some private realm potential projects. So we're looking at upgrading directory signage on the exteriors of buildings. So this might be, part of that public amenities plan under that wayfinding portion. We've identified a facade improvement program, which would help, local businesses spruce up their storefronts. We're looking at upgrades to outdoor dining, really to just ensure that all the appropriate infrastructure is in place to facilitate, outdoor dining experiences. Public art on private space, so looking at ways to activate different areas in the downtown with public art and murals to really create sort of a more comfortable and creative environment, along with expanding e-commerce capabilities of businesses to really help them maximize their reach, maximize profitability, and hopefully position them to weather disruptions in the future similar to the pandemic. So that is what we have to date with respect to project ideas. I do want to open it up now to listen to any questions, comments, or project recommendations that anyone has. We do have as I mentioned, online form for folks to fill out. They can drop their comments there. That's going to be open through June. But that's really all I have right now on this LRRP process. Zach, if you'd like to say anything, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, I can just sort of open it up to a general discussion.
Thanks, Justin. I guess first I just want to say thank you to you and to everyone who took the time to participate in this meeting today. And it's probably I'm really most interested in hearing people's ideas and commentary for this project. So I think that the best thing to do is just hand it off to discussion. But thank you, Justin, and thank you, everyone else.
Yeah, and I can stop sharing the screen so we can have some of a discussion with folks. So does anyone have any questions or comments or, project recommendation ideas?
Hey, Justin, it's Anna Farrington.
Hi, Anna.
Hey, thank you so much for putting this presentation together. It's really great to see all these options and things. We had that conversation earlier in the month, and I really appreciate everything you're doing to help move these things along. I have had a couple of conversations with folks on Eagle Street, and there is a lot of concern about pedestrian safety over here. And so I noticed that one of your slides addressed like infrastructure, like sidewalks and crosswalks. And I'm just want to make sure that I convey the neighbors' interest in those types of projects to you in this forum, because we are having increased street front activity on Eagle Street. There are new shops opening and changes happening, and pedestrian safety is really a big concern over here. So
yeah, definitely appreciate
my comment on that.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that comment. Yeah, we've definitely had discussions about this in the past, but yes, Eagle Street is certainly an area where cars can be quite speedy.
Yeah,
And,
it's true.
So yes, we will certainly be looking at ways to traffic calm and just make
Awesome.
make it overall safer for pedestrians.
That'd be great. I appreciated the WUNRF studies that you had hosted also. That's really
Yeah. Thank you.
Doesn't anybody else have anything to say? I'm surprised there's so many vacant storefronts. That 31, was that what your slide said?
Let me go back. Let me see how many there were.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it was more than I had expected. It's a little unclear as to the connection between the pandemic and just sort of overall, business closures. But yeah.
And then I also wanted to comment, one of the other possible projects you mentioned was wayfinding downtown, and you mentioned specifically pedestrian scale wayfinding. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate the conversation that you and I had in that I would really, if the decision is made to move forward with additional wayfinding, that it be in keeping with the wayfinding program that the city has already started implementing. There's a lot of vehicular signs that were installed. I guess that was 2017 or 2018 probably. I just wanted to mention that because the slide that you showed, or maybe it was a later slide, showed one of the Mass MoCA signs.
Yes.
And I love those signs. They're really cool. The cut raw steel, those are amazing. But I think as a city, it's important to have a sort of consolidated brand and identity, and signage is a big part of that. And I just wanted to mention, if that is a project that moves forward, we want to make sure that it's in collaboration with the existing sign program.
Certainly, yes.
That's it from me. I'll shut up now. Thanks.
Hi everyone, Ben Lamb here. Sorry, I'm sitting in a parking lot with my dog right now. The one thing that I just wanted to ask, there was a lot of, in terms of the suggestions, sort of studies and research being done. I'm just curious if those would, ideally also include what are the actionable pieces that can happen after. Especially when you're talking about like a tourism study or a marketing study or things along those lines. And just I'm I'm a fan of data informed action, but I just want to make sure that it's not, just studies that end at that point.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I do think the point would be to create sort of a like follow-up, have recommendations that actually lead to getting things implemented. I can let Zach speak a little bit more to that if you'd like, but yeah, I certainly appreciate that comment.
I guess my hope for the final product of this project is that it will, include recommendations for steps to be taken to help bring more vitality to the downtown and to and also in doing so provide a roadmap for how we can enhance vitality in other commercial districts as well. But in addition to those recommendations, the city will receive some guidance in how to actually implement those recommendations, looking at sources for funding, and other direction as is available. Something like a tourism study, that's a program, that's a recommendation that could be enacted down the line through the same Massachusetts Downtown Initiative that's funding this project. So there's a lot of opportunity to build in sort of steps so that this is really a foundation for step 1, 2, and 3 towards implementing the plan recommendations.
Great, thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments or potential ideas? All right.
Hi, this is Jen Savello. I just had one comment. I know that this is a very small group that's here now, and this is a group of some folks that I know that are usually way more vocal, myself included. But I know that we oftentimes, when we come up with these recommendations and begin to implement them, I feel like sometimes the general population thinks they haven't had enough opportunity to hear about them and learn about them. And one example I can think of is the mural that's going to be painted on the high rise on Ashton Street. I know that on social media, everybody is continuing, well, who came up with that idea? Why didn't I have any input? Why didn't I know about it? So I just, wanting to be, not that I think everybody's opinion is the right one all the time, but I just wonder like how we're gonna do that, including everybody, because I feel like all those negative naysayers tend to be much louder than the positive folks that see it as positive change and forward thinking. So I just, throughout all of this, being mindful of that, I guess.
No, I appreciate that comment. And yes, it's always difficult to get folks involved in participating and to find the sort of appropriate format to communicate this information and let folks participate in the process. But we certainly try our best to make folks aware of different planning initiatives that are occurring and sort of giving them the opportunity to participate. I think later this month, we'll probably try to get a little bit more exposure for this project. Maybe we can attend some downtown events as the weather gets nicer and some restrictions get loosened, and really sort of create an environment where we can get more input on this type of project, and then in addition, just getting more input more generally. It's always important, but I appreciate that comment. Thank you.
Hey, Justin,
Yes.
it's Alice Bojanowski. I wanted to say that I stumbled onto this meeting today, and I'm still trying to figure out how the project works and how the public participation part will happen as well. I love the idea of once we get to take off our masks, everybody gets to participate in this downtown study downtown. Can you possibly put back on the screen your slide about the dates?
Sure.
For this project? that would be a good thing for the public to see. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. Where are the dates here?
Thank you. That's helpful.
I'm sorry, did you have a question, Alice, or was that just more of a comment?
Well, that was my warm up. So
Okay.
now I'm going to ask you the big questions of what I was hoping to see when I heard about this meeting is I thought, okay, tactical urbanism and livable communities and all of the stuff in the toolkit that we can go and have the citizens actually implement or have input for. I know that Ben Lamb has done some of that work down on Ashland Street and is working towards that. I know that Zach's done studies downtown already. And so I'm one of those citizens that said, okay, we've got studies that happened before. When can we actually put stuff on the ground and see stuff happening? And I
Alice?
know that we've been quarantined and hiding behind masks, but now that the weather's looking great, I think I, for one, want to go out there and build something. And I was hoping that this grant would be part of that there would actually be actionable items that citizens can participate in and create something. I don't know if that's a yes or a no.
I think most people feel that way as well. For the purposes of this program, it is sort of that initial phase of more planning. You know, North Adams is in that unique position of having had many planning studies done, and there is a lot that could potentially start getting implemented, but the lack of funding certainly prevents that. And we are hoping that you know, there will be a follow-up program that will provide funding to go ahead and implement some of the projects that we list on this plan. But we do, for the purposes of this program right now, we're sort of going through the exercise of you know, putting plans together.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So if I can reiterate, so this plan that you'll be working on through the summer is to come up with those steps that Zach was talking about. Here's our vision, here's what we're trying to do, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hopefully once we get the funding in place, we can then go out and build it.
That is the
Sound about
hope.
right?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sign me up, I'm here to help.
Will do. Zach, I don't know if you wanted to speak about that at all, with respect to just this program being one of more of a planning nature than implementation.
Yeah, so I mean, it is unfortunate. Of course, we all want you know, we all want to see plans implemented, and it's a bit unfortunate that this program doesn't provide funding to take some of the plans that have already been created in years past and enable us to actually put those recommendations into reality on the ground. But the hope here is that we can sort of use this planning project to leverage those prior planning projects to help you know, fill in some gaps that may have existed previously with public participation, get some more input, gain some new ideas. So I'm really looking forward to see you know, the yield from this project, and to see down the line what becomes available in terms of funding for actual implementation. So the more throughout this process, as Justin mentioned, as you can see on the screen too, the plan development phase of the project is quite long, going from May to July. We'll be doing more of these meetings. Hopefully, as we progress into the summer, these meetings will transition to in person, as Justin had mentioned, and we can get a little more creative with the public participation. You know, going so far as to, you know, have like maybe little cutouts of benches and water fountains and stuff that people can place on a map to show us where they think certain amenities should be. So hopefully we'll get some new ideas and we'll be able to reshape some old ideas and get something, improve the downtown, provide more amenities, and just make it a more, vital and social place as restrictions are lifted and things, I don't want to say return to normal, but, start to change in the future.
Well said. Thanks for that, Zach.
You're welcome.
Can I ask another question?
Shoot.
What happens next? Is there a contact website? Is there a contact person if we have any questions about this particular project?
So we do have a place where you can drop any, project recommendation ideas. You can certainly
Right.
reach out to me with any questions or comments that you have. In terms of next steps, I think it's more just refinement of project recommendation ideas, getting more input and consensus on those ideas, and then sort of going forward from there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there a particular contact person at the Chamber of Commerce as well, perhaps?
Zach, would you be able to answer that question or?
Yeah, so I'm actually entering into the chat right now my email address and yours also, Justin.
Appreciate it.
Anybody, please feel free to if you have ideas for projects or things you'd like to see happen or things you don't want to see happen. Any input you want to provide, feel free to send it to Justin and myself at the email addresses that I hopefully entered correctly into the chat.
Mine looks good.
And then I will work to get a contact for the chamber. Probably can get that into the chat in the next couple of minutes as well.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Ben Lamb, are you still in the parking lot?
I am. They just took my dog, but I'm still here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for all the work that you've done so far. I'm curious if there are other people that we should be talking to, such as the actual building owners. For instance, David Carver, should we be reaching out to him or some of those owners of the downtown buildings is my question. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I'm not sure if that was directed towards me, but if I remember correctly, Zach, I think that some of the building owners were engaged in the process. Am I incorrect in that?
Yeah, so some of the they're not business owners, but property owners have been engaged in the process thus far and will be engaged. And we will continue to engage them into the future.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, if that's it, we can go ahead and conclude here. Do appreciate everyone coming to this event today and sharing their thoughts. I think it was very beneficial to hear from you all.
Yeah, appreciate your time and keep us posted.
We'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you.